What's up, boys? I'm back. No fight card prediction tonight. We're doing a Charles Oliveira video. We're glazing Charles for this video. No fight night card prediction. That'll come on probably Thursday or Friday for Olberg versus Reyes. Go Dominic Reyes, just saying. And this video, we're really just gonna be touching on what's next for Charles Oliveira. Who's gonna replace Rafael Fiziev for UFC Rio for the main event October 11th. And yeah, so don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into this video. Now, what is next for our boy Charlie Olives? Oh, it didn't switch. There you go. All right. So just kind of a quick overview of his last, couple fights. I cut out the actual fight that he won the belt on against Michael Chandler the first time. But obviously, wins over Gaethje, Dariush, and Michael Chandler. But he is, what is that? He's 2-3 in his last 5. So I get they're all warriors, the people he's lost to, like Islam, Arman, and Ilya. But, he is on a bit of a slide. He's definitely on a decline in his career. Now, that doesn't mean that we still can't get the belt back. You know what I mean? We still can get the belt back. I have zero doubts about that. But, listen, he's coming off a brutal knockout against Ilya Tapor. This Fiziev fight was dangerous, even though a lot of people want to say pillow hands, Rafael Fiziev. Guy can't finish anybody. He hasn't done it in years in the UFC. I'm not going to disrespect him. I was so excited for this fight. And really, it was going to be a super entertaining battle, and I was worried. Charles, his chin just got exploded by Ilya. Fiziev has a variety of strikes. He could have found it. And listen, massive missed opportunity for Rafael Fiziev. He even said it himself that if he beats Charles Oliveira, he's one win away from the title shot, which is true. Think about it. You beat a guy in the top 5. What, Charles is 4 right now? If you beat Charles, then who knows what's next for you? Maybe you fight a Max in a couple months, or maybe Arman finally fights again. It really is a massive disappointment. Not that Fiziev is some young guy. He's 32. You know what I mean? But just to get kind of a new guy in that top 5 would be really nice to see. And I know he's been in the UFC for, I think, like 6 years at this point, and has had 11 fights. But it would have been nice to have him in there. And just to kind of go through a couple things with Rafael Fiziev, because I want to give the guy his credit, because I would have gone through a whole breakdown of this guy. He's 13-4 overall in his MMA professional career, 7-4 inside the UFC. He knocked out Moicano, had a unanimous decision over Bobby Green when he wasn't washed. I think it was in 2021 when that happened. Then he also knocked out RDA when he was pretty much fully washed like a year or two ago. Lost to Gaethje twice, and then had that bad leg injury against Gamrot, which he was winning that fight, I believe. I'm trying to remember. I just remember the injury. And then in his last fight, he beat Ignacio Baja Mondes in Azerbaijan by unanimous decision. I actually watched that fight in the back of an ambulance working as an EMT out in Coram. So that was fun. It was a nice fight to watch. And there was nobody back in the ambulance, just so anybody knows. I wasn't doing anything illegal or anything bad. But, listen, now we're going to go into who's replacing Rafael Fiziev, because we need a guy. We need this fight to be a banger. We can't have this fight get canceled. Charles is too big of a name. Yeah. So, who's going to be? And also, before I get into that name, Charles undefeated in Brazil in his career when he fights there. He's beaten Nicolense. I think he subbed him by guillotine. He KO'd Jarrett Gordon. And he also, I think, subbed Kevin Lee by guillotine. So the dudes he's beat in Brazil, not cans. You know what I mean? He's beating real fucking guys over there. Again, here's just a picture of Charles Oliveira, aura. You know how it is. And I thought it was also worth noting when a lot of people were either throwing their, name in the hat, or there was speculation around guys. Like, he was kind of full heel Charles Oliveira. He went out and said, a lot of the people in the UFC are calling, they're complaining, saying they have a bellyache or they broke a finger or hurt my hand. Charles was pissed about that. He just wants to fight somebody in Brazil, which I love. I want active Charles. I love it. I don't care that you're old. He's a legend. He's going to go down fucking swinging. So let's go into the possible potential opponents. And there's a long list now. Not all of these guys I really think are going to fight Charles, but I'll just name them. Dan Hooker's an option. Paddy Pimblett, Manuel Torres, Gamrot, Arman, Beneil Dariush, Renato Moicano, and then BSD, I think are all feasible options for Charles Oliveira to fight. Now, some of these guys, again, very unlikely. Others I'd say I want to see. And then some I actually think are super likely. So the first guy I'm going to go through is Gamrot. I think this is the most likely. They've had a lot of back and forth on Twitter. Not really as much Charles talking back to him, but as you could see when, whatever, this was announced that Fiziev, had to withdraw from the fight due to injury, Gamrot was out here saying he's ready to jump in. And Gamrot, he's always down. I know people want to shit at him because some people think he's boring because he's kind of that grappling heavy style. And he doesn't really finish a lot of people, but I like him. He is entertaining to me. I do enjoy high-level grappling. I know it's somewhat of an unpopular take, but listen, he was tweeting at Charles saying, he told the UFC that he wanted to face him in Brazil, and he was ready to prove it. And then he was hearing that Charles was worried about his style and that he needed a full training camp. But Gamrot's saying, I'm ready to step in, and that 2 weeks to prepare is plenty of time for it, and that there's no excuses. Now, who knows? This is probably Gamrot's fucking manager tweeting this out. But either way, I think this really shouldn't even be, if what he's saying is true, that Charles, is worried about his style. Listen, I'm not saying Gamrot's some bum. He's obviously very good. But this is grappling heavy. Like, he doesn't need to worry really about getting finished or, really getting embarrassed in front of his people. I think this would be a really fun matchup between two kind of different stylistic grapplers. Charles is really good off his back. Gamrot, he's just so strong and he's just going to muscle you to the ground. It's a different level of terms of how they're getting their takedowns. Again, I would be really excited for this matchup if it did happen. I think Gamrot, what is he, the number 6 or what is he? Let me just look it up. I think he's the number 6 ranked lightweight. Let's see. Tejas Gamrot. He is number 8. I don't know if I was close. I think 6 might be Dan Hooker, but whatever. Gamrot, he has a nice resume. He beat Armin years ago, lost to Dariush by UD, and then had that kind of controversial, kind of crazy split decision with Dan Hooker. He also had that Fiziev fight where Fiziev's legs got hurt, and then he won that technically. He also beat a washed RDA, and then in his last fight, I thought looked pretty. I think it was back in May. At the end of May, he looked pretty good against Ludovic Klein. Won that by decision. But the UFC's never cared about this guy particularly because he's boring. But again, I enjoy watching. I think Charles would still win this fight, but by decision or maybe sub. You know what I mean? But again, I think this would be a fight though if Charles did win. It'd be a nice, impressive win over a legit guy, and it would kind of further prolong his career. I know that's kind of dumb, but it would just be another nice win for him to have. So I would like this matchup. This is the one I want to see. I want to see Gamrot versus Charles. I think that'd be electric. Maybe not to the casual, but at least to me, at least to a real fucking aficionado, MMA aficionado like myself. I want to see Gamrot versus Charles. Now we go on to the dumber ones, because I think everything after Gamrot, BSD's also a legit option in my opinion. But after Gamrot, I think all the other options are slightly dumber. Moicano, we could simply see this just because we saw him show interest on Twitter. He tweeted out these eyes things randomly right after it was announced that Fiziev dropped out. Again, it's not the first time he's done this. He did it against Islam, filled in for Armin after Armin ruined an event and lost to Islam for the belt. But, he'll do it. I mean, not to Moicano, he's a company guy. He didn't accept that settlement money, whatever, the couple $100,000. So I think that could be a legit reason why he could get this fight. The UFC just throws him a bone, and then he has a chance to earn another massive payday if he takes Charles in the main event. Also lost to Dariush in his last fight, not to Moicano, and I picked him to win. I was like, he's got to win this. Easy money, he kept saying. Fucking lost. He put Dariush on his ass in the beginning of the first round, and then just couldn't do shit the rest of the fight. It was honestly extremely disappointing. Other than that, Oliveira, he's not easy money. He's not easy money, not the Moicano. You're gonna fucking lose this fight. The only reason I'd want to see this fight is simply because Renato Moicano would just be sacrificing himself for the greater good of MMA and the UFC. Like, if he lost this, which he would lose this, he would get finished. It would just give so much more confidence to Charles, put him back on a high, and then we could lead into the next fight for him. and kind of just keep pushing his career along. So that would be the only reason I want to see this fight, because I know Charles for a fact would win. As for the next guy, we're talking about a dude that I've talked a lot of shit on in this channel, in the short life of this channel. Benoit Saint Denis, currently the 13th ranked lightweight in the UFC. Listen, he looks so much better against Mauricio Huffy, a fellow Brazilian. Took really no damage, had that one knee, flying knee, but other than that, like, what, Huffy didn't let his hands go at all in this fight or really do anything. He stuffed some takedowns, that's about it. But this isn't about Mauricio Huffy. Benoit Saint Denis looked a lot better. I think this would be an incredibly stupid fight for him to take, because whoever that other guy beat, Provolek, whatever his name is, and Huffy, like, those aren't legit guys. They're both unranked. He hasn't had that one win yet where I'm like, wow, that was kind of a statement win for BSD. I mean, I guess the Huffy win is within, like, to a degree it is. But even Huffy, it's like he hasn't been established in the rankings for a while. I don't think this is the fight for him yet, but it was interesting. You know, weeks ago in an interview, he had said he was looking at this fight and being like, oh, I'm looking to replace somebody who might get injured in this fight. And then his team comes out and says, oh, we have too much respect for Charles. Like, we don't want to take it on short notice. And it's like, all right, you say you're down to fucking fill in and then you don't. You're a loser for that. Again, I have so much problems with BSD. He did kind of win me over in the last fight just because it was funny that he fucking finished Mauricio Huffy, and part of the reason why the fighting nerds are on a fucking downfall. But I don't hate him turning down this fight. I just think he would lose, and he has a lot to lose if he lost this fight. He would just get relegated to gatekeeper probably for the rest of his time in lightweight and the rest of his time in the UFC. At least if he waits a little longer, gets a better matchup, maybe like a Michael Chandler, he could win that and then slowly keep climbing up the rankings. He'll never be a top 5 guy, don't get me wrong, but he could be top 10. He could be like 8, 9, maybe 7. I think he has legit chance to do that. Why not? BSD. But yeah, he would lose this fight. It would interest me if this fight actually got announced, but I don't see it happening, especially after them saying they're not going to take it. So yeah, it's not going to happen. But the fucking next guy that I'm going to say, and I know who he is, but I don't really know who he is. Who the fuck is Manuel Torres? Who the fuck is that guy? That was my shitty McGregor. I'm Irish. I just can't. I'm American Irish. Or Irish American, excuse me. I wish I could do it better. We're gonna work on the impressions. But this looked like it was actually gonna happen. It was circling on Twitter. Manuel Torres even fucking tweeted about it, like, "Oh, I'm down to do this." And then there were, those fake UFC news people coming out saying this fight was gonna happen. It would make really zero sense for Charles to take this fight. This guy's not ranked. He is on a nice run, though. I think he's 4-1 in the UFC. All of his fights end in the first round. Even his one loss against Ignacio Bahamondes ended in the first round. He got knocked out, I believe. But some of his wins, he subbed Chris Duncan and TKO over Drew Dober. But I don't really see this happening. I wouldn't really be happy if this were to go down, mainly because Manuel Torres, I guess, could finish Charles Oliveira. Guy's got finishing power, but it would make really zero sense as a main event right now. I couldn't see them doing this, but it would scare me a little bit because the guy has actual finishing ability, but it's not going to happen. We don't have to worry about that. Now we're going to go on to guys who definitely aren't going to fight Charles Oliveira, but their names should be mentioned. Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan. This guy's legit, man. That was my shitty Chael impression. Arman Tsarukyan. Yeah, this guy's a lazy fuck. He just subbed Benson Henderson in like a gay grappling meet. This guy, why would we expect him to do his job? He hasn't fought in a decade. I think it's actually 2 years. I mean, how many times has Charles fought since he fucking lost to Arman? 2, 3 times? Like, how? It's ridiculous. And he's 36, 37. What is Charles? 36, 37? 6'7"? Sorry. He just subbed 50-year-old Bennett Henderson. He should do this. He should be all over this. And I forgot to mention this earlier. Every single guy named here, even though I gave legit reasons why they shouldn't take it, they all should still take it. This is Charles Oliveira at his weakest, essentially. He's old. I'm not going to say he's washed, but he's getting to washed. He just got brutally knocked out by Ilya. Why are these guys not taking this fight? I get it. He's still dangerous. And maybe you're fat. I mean, Arman, we know he loves his fucking Dave's Hot Chicken or whatever that shit he eats in his Lamborghini. But fucking lock in. You could still win this fight, Armin. And I wouldn't root for you. I hate you so much. I despise everything about you. You're lazy, and you think you deserve a title shot for doing nothing. But why are you not taking, like, why are guys not jumping all over this? Why are we hearing camp saying, like, oh, out of respect, you know, it's too short notice? I get, like, a certain logistical sense about that. But a guy like Armin, why aren't you all over this? You beat him already. I mean, some people say controversially he did win the fight. But, again, Armin's not going to take this fight. He's also rumored to be headlining against Dan Hooker at a UFC event in Qatar. I think it's the 22nd of November. So this wouldn't happen anyway. It would be an interesting rematch, but fucking God forbid. And speaking of Dan Hooker, he's the other guy. This guy talks so much shit about Charles Oliveira, saying, Charles, you know, fucking denied his fight. Well, you're always hurt, Dan Hooker. I think you're hurt currently. I think your arm is broken or your wrist. You're made of fucking glass, Dan Hooker. You also haven't fought in what feels like a decade. And again, that rumor between him and Armin possibly fighting at UFC Qatar, that, you know, again, I don't see him fighting Charles. So, and really, I mean, would it be interesting? Yeah, I would. I love watching Dan Hooker fight. He's electric. You know, he's always puts on a fucking show. But it's not going to happen. And Dan Hooker, you go fuck yourself talking shit on my goat. And really, this guy, this isn't really very serious. I mean, I threw him up there as a possible name because he really should. He could probably this is one of the only dudes I've named. I mean, I guess Armin could beat Charles too. And so could Gamrot. But I mean, finish. Like, Paddy Pimblett could legitimately finish Charles Oliveira. And I know, you know, the Paddy criticizers will come out and be like, he really hasn't beat anybody. He's just beating old people, which is true. He really is only beat up on old men. But this would just never happen. I mean, how much do you think Paddy Pimblett weighs right now? Probably 230, right? Now, maybe 230 is crazy, but he definitely weighs over 200 pounds. The weight cut would be insane. There's no way he could do this within 3 weeks. It would be a great fight, though. I mean, I would love to see this fight. Even if Charles were to get finished, I'd just be like, oh shit, I guess Paddy's that guy. You know what I mean? But would be extremely fun fight. I wouldn't mind seeing this at all. It will never happen though, because nobody in this division wants to fucking do anything fun. And I mean, I had to mention him, right? Fucking Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler 3. I know I didn't put him up there in the possible opponents. What a fight this would be, right? I mean, what did Michael Chandler say? He could beat him 9 times out of 10? He's already lost twice. What's a third loss going to really do in the grand scheme of things? Michael Chandler, you're an under 500 guy in the UFC anyway. You always put on a fight. I desperately want to see this fight. I would die to see this fight. Charles versus Michael Chandler 3. The trilogy in Brazil. It's what the people want. The people pay. It would be a great thing. I could never see this happening. He just got called up by Alexander Hernandez, right? Which also won't happen. There's no way Michael Chandler's fighting fucking Alexander Hernandez. He's only fighting big names. I would never see him taking this fight, though. And if he did take this fight, he would get fucking comically knocked out. Because you see, he gets reasonably knocked out in the first fight. It wasn't comical. Then he just gets decision. He loses decision where he got owned in that second fight at the Garden. And this would be the fight where he just gets dominated. Because Michael Chandler's fully washed now. The Paddy fight showed it. He's done. But he could still beat Conor. He could still beat Conor. Iron Mike still got it. But again, if Charles gets finished, like bad, maybe not subbed, but if he gets knocked out bad, I honestly think he should retire. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if this event got canceled. He really does need more time to rest and stuff, but clearly he doesn't think so. But I think he's just looking for another payday and wants to fight in Brazil again. But he really should retire if he does get finished. Now, if he wins, he's got to fight Max for the BMF. That has to be the fucking rematch. I mean, they fought how many years ago? 10, 12 years ago when they were both early in their careers. Remember, Charles got hurt with like the shoulder or whatever. Like, it wasn't right. And these are two of the best fighters ever. You know what I mean? They're both legends. We've kind of always wanted this fight to happen again because obviously they've both improved massively. They have to fight for the BMF. These two guys are the baddest motherfuckers. My guess, because Max isn't going to fight the end of the year, you know, isn't going to fight the rest of this year. Which he, like, even if he wanted to, like, and wanted this fight, Charles isn't going to fucking fight in November or December. He's fighting right now in October. I would guess February at the earliest if this fight were to happen. Probably March, depending on how much damage is taken by Charles and how Max is healing up. But this would be such a banger of a fight. I mean, What a fucking and the winner of this fights Ilya. They knock him out and they restore balance to the fucking force and the UFC. That's what we all want to see. We all want to see Charles versus Max for the BMF. That's the dream. Winner of that knocks out, finishes Ilya. They retire as the GOAT. And Ilya Taporia goes back to a little fucking cave like the little gremlin that he is. So that's my path for Charles Oliveira. Win this fight. I want to see if he beats Gamrot. That's such like a legitimately nice, good win. He could take on Max and then again beat Max. Then we get to the belt. We beat Ilya Taporia, retire with the belt as champion, and we retire as the fucking GOAT. I mean, it's as simple as that. You know, Ilya's lucky it was an off day for us, honestly. It was AI. I mean, the government, they wiped our brain. They wiped our brains. Charles really did win that fight, but they implanted that Ilya knocked him out. That wasn't really how it went down. I mean, come on. That being said, really like this video. If anybody wants me to do more kind of non-fight card, you know, breakdowns, recaps, you know, those kind of videos, let me know. Because I like doing these one-off videos. Because honestly, I don't have to prepare as much because it's all people I know like a decent amount about. Like a Charles Oliveira, I'm a massive glazer of him. So if you want to do another one, I could do one about the fighting nerds, which might be next. Expect the card breakdown for the Olberg versus Reyes card, which is absolutely shit. Thursday night or like sometime on Friday. It's an awful card, but hopefully Dom Reyes wins. That being said, thank you all for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you all for watching.